This answer is Back to the Future. The big break was getting a job at Radio Shack. And that's where I met my tech mentor. He had sold his company for, I guess, over $1 billion, which is crazy. Within 4 years, I had started my PC laptops company and made my first $1 million. And so we were mining Dogecoin. So we hooked up over 4,000 miners and we started converting that to Bitcoin, the biggest crypto mining facility in South Jordan, Utah. Bitcoin dominance may never drop like really low again. You've seen Back to the Future. This is almost like we have the playbook. Oh, if I only could go back to the mid-90s and bought Microsoft and or Amazon and Google, I'd be so extra rich. But it's like, well, you're kind of there because blockchain.
This is the show for forward-thinking entrepreneurs who want to use blockchain and AI to disrupt and dominate. Today, Brian Ferry meets with CEO of PC Laptops and founder of the Ugly Unicorn Fund, Dan Young.
Now, the whole world knows about PC laptops. Tell me the history of how you got started with that and where's it at today?
Well, it all actually started in California. When I was 5 years old, my dad was an artist, a crazy freelance artist, wild man. And he said, hey, I got a new client. I'm designing an instruction manual for their computer. And I go, cool, Dad. He goes, and they gave me some computers. They're in the garage if you want one. So it was called the Apple II Plus computer.
Wow, yeah.
So he designed for Apple brochures. So I got this computer, and that's how I learned about computers back in 1977, 76, somewhere there. Yeah, that's how I got into computers, right? So that was like the start of it. So I was a rowdy teenager and all that. Moved to Utah, Salt Lake City with my sister. She worked at the University of Utah as an academic advisor. And my parents just wanted me to get out of LA because it was too crazy, right?
Yeah.
And that's how I got there. As far as starting the company goes, I had to learn how to sell pretty quickly because my sister said, you can live with me for a little bit, but not forever. So I got a job doing telemarketing on the phone, swap meet, security guard at concerts, just watching parking lots, all kinds of weird stuff. But the big break was getting a job at Radio Shack in Fashion Place Mall.
Wow.
And that's where I met my tech mentor. So this old guy comes in with a broken ham radio. And he's like, can you fix this? And I'm like, yeah. And I see this old guy walking through the mall all the time. He's like really old, right? And so I fix it. And he goes, what do I owe you? And I'm like, nothing, man. We got it taken care of. He goes, you need a mentor? I'm like, okay. So we sit down, we go to lunch, get some like crazy bad quality Chinese food in the food court. And I go, so what did you do? And he goes, oh, I'm a hardware, software tech guy. I invented this thing for the IBM XT. It's a memory manager thing and this and that. And he had sold his company for, I guess, over $1 billion.
Oh, wow.
And he goes, now I walk the mall, get my steps in. I don't have a wife anymore, so I'll help you. And which is crazy, within 4 years, I had started my PC laptops company and made my first $1 million.
Wow.
But he just drew out, man. He goes, it's not hard to do this. You just sell, create a product people need, solve a problem. Mm-hmm. And tech was the way to go, right?
That's awesome.
So weird.
So I'm told that early on you got involved in blockchain mining.
Yes.
Tell me a little bit about that.
So this professor from the U wants to buy a bunch of computers because he's teaching a class, a computer science teacher. And so he gives me this USB key. And it's got this script in it. And what it does is it scans for different tokens and the lowest cost of electricity for the token. And at the time, Dogecoin was, in 2014, was like better than mining Bitcoin. It was just way good, right?
Right.
And so we were mining Dogecoin. My COO had made a big mistake. We had thought we'd have a hardware shortage for GPU. So we bought too many. And so I'm like, hey, man, this professor gave me this. Let's hook them up. So we hooked up over 4,000 miners in South Jordan.
Wow.
And so we hooked them up and we started printing Doge and we started converting that to Bitcoin and then Ethereum came around. And so that was kind of our gig of building the biggest crypto mining facility in South Jordan, Utah.
Wow. That's crazy. Yeah. Back in those days, I got a friend of mine called and they were running a big Bitcoin operation up in Montana.
Oh.
And I think I told you this before we went on air. I wasn't really into the crypto side of it, right? And don't know exactly how many they mined over that period of time, but me saying no was not a good idea. Let's put it that way.
You can't look back. It screws with your neck.
I know. So what do you think from your perspective, where is blockchain going? Like, where do you see it evolving in the future?
We were just talking, we're Gen Xers, right? We're in our 50s. So I remember speaking at Comdex, which is now CES, back in 1994. And I was speaking to a group of people about the internet. And I go, okay, who here uses the internet? Who has bought something? And if I think it was like 75 people, 50 to 75 people. And a couple people raised their hand. And I'm like, well, why is anyone here opposed to the internet for buying something and scams?
Right.
All those things. And I go, well, I think it's going to be the future. You know, we have like Microsoft really starting to embrace. And at the time, I don't know if Google was launched, but Microsoft, that was something we were heavily involved with. And I was like, this is the future, man. Like everything that you do now will be very connected to the internet. And so back then, in going through the early 2000s, I bought a lot of Microsoft, Amazon, Google, the same old stuff, you know. And that was cool. And so I just kind of, you've seen Back to the Future.
Yeah.
This is almost like we have the playbook because we are living, if we said, oh, if I only could go back to the mid 90s and bought Microsoft and or Amazon and Google, I'd be so extra rich. But it's like, well, you're kind of there because blockchain, everyone first, even the BlackRock CEO, Larry Fink, was like, hey, this is a scam. And suddenly he's like, let's launch some fun. And the inflow into this is faster than the inflow into their gold ETF.
Right.
I mean, it's freaking wild, right? So I think 10 years from now, 20 years from now, we'll be really old. But people watching this thing right now, they'll be like, I wish I woulda, I coulda, you know, shoulda.
Right.
That's the same thing. So blockchain will be the next evolution. Now, we have an accelerator, AI, and if quantum computing, you know, really starts picking traction, you have baking soda, vinegar, and some weird ingredient to like really cause 20, 30 years of technology evolution in a few years.
Yeah.
So Moore's Law is out the door now with this accelerated advancement. And I mean, maybe we're sentient, evolved cyborg beings like the Borg or something. I don't know, man. Everything in Star Trek comes true, don't we agree?
Yeah, but and you know what's terrifying about that is it actually does.
Yeah.
Like everything that we had when we saw on the TV when we were kids is all happening now.
Dude, I want the food replica. I want to be like burger. Burger.
Right. Yeah. So tell me a little bit about your thoughts with the, you know, right now today everybody's saying we're going into the alt season, which if you look historically in crypto, that was kind of an interesting time. But I have my own opinions about that, but I'd like to hear what you have to say about that.
Well, we know Bitcoin dominance without some of the factors. The black swans now are institutional investment from Fidelity ETF, BlackRock, all the other big boys. And the second black swan is if Trump launches a strategic reserve. That's like crazy. Just today, Elon wants to do a walkthrough through Fort Knox to see if there's actually anything in there. Right. Probably nothing.
Probably.
But that'll be interesting, right? If there's nothing in there, then you're going to see some crazy stuff happen to the dollar.
Yeah.
And then you'll see if the dollar takes a crap, you're going to see Bitcoin, like, and all crypto, like, moon it, right?
Right.
Like, instantly.
Right.
But altcoin season, 4-year cycle from the Bitcoin halving, or a little over a year some after that. And typically we're supposed to kind of see it now, but we took an early run up in Bitcoin because of the black swan of the ETF launch, right? Mm-hmm. So what do I think is going to happen? When tides rise, all ships rise. You know, when Microsoft goes up, when Google goes up, when these big companies, NVIDIA now, goes up, you start to see large cap, mid cap, small cap, penny stocks in tech start really rising through the times. That's just all investments.
Yeah.
You know, because people are just trying to grasp some of that profit.
This episode is sponsored in part by Parler, the social media platform built to champion free speech. Parler, real people, unfiltered voices, true freedom. Download it today from the App Store.
Once Bitcoin dominance may never drop like really low again.
Yeah, not like it did.
It may not. It may be the dominant thing. But the thing is, Bitcoin doesn't have a lot of utility except for storage. But I'm old like you in that I look at crypto as software. It's simply just a programming language. So the functional utility is which programming language. Back in our day, we had COBOL and Pascal and all that.
Right.
And then we had Visual Basic and all this crap. And so now, it just keeps getting better and easier. That's all it is. It's better software. So I think the altcoin run hopefully will be happening anytime soon. Maybe a little delayed reaction. But people will get tired of just investing in Bitcoin and they get greedy.
Yeah.
And that's why you see the meme coin popularity, even though meme coins are really super dangerous, you're seeing some astronomical immediate rise and drops and rugs and things like that.
Right.
But the functional utility stuff, the second big thing is like, okay, guys like you and me like to buy our top big tech stock equities. I get it, right? And then we peel off profits and buy real estate and buildings and boring old guy stuff. But the cool thing about the speculative asset, right, in crypto is this software functional technology. So back in our day, we were discovering, after Microsoft and all these guys, suddenly we had like Uber and Airbnb and stuff that connected mobile to internet better. That's the next profitability zone. So just think about the innovation in software in alts. It's huge. Now, meme coins are going to be meme coins, but I'm talking about functional utility, right?
Yeah. Yeah. It's this is a side note, but can you imagine when we were in high school getting on your phone and asking some stranger to come and pick you up and drive you to the bar or the whatever, right? Like we were taught our whole life, don't ride with strangers. And now we have apps to make it happen. Yeah. I think that's fascinating.
Weird.
So I actually was doing an AMA this morning at 3:00 this morning. It was a live broadcast in Singapore. And one of the things that I talked about was this sort of separation between utility and speculation. For me, I think the future of all transactions, software, will be based upon the utility, not this sort of speculative market. I think 99% of that, of the million plus tokens that are out there, is just, you might as well go to Vegas and put it all on red, right?
Right, yep.
So in the next 5 to 10 years, which industries do you think will be most impacted by this idea that we can use it as a utility, that we can use the features of blockchain to be able to revolutionize industry?
This answer is Back to the Future. So again, being Gen Xers, do you remember the dot-com bubble?
Oh, yeah.
Of 2000? When Apple and Amazon in the year 2000 dropped over 80%?
Yeah.
But we've seen Bitcoin crash 80% and people say it's a scam. Is Apple a scam?
Right.
Is Amazon a scam? So here's the thing. We saw so many .coms that had no functional utility go to zero. We'll see probably 95% of crypto projects that have no utility go to zero. Yeah. But stuff that has functional utility is going to follow the bridge. I was speaking to a bunch of young people, entrepreneurs, hundreds of them in this room, and they said, Dan, how do I make money on this blockchain besides just buying Bitcoins and stuff, And I says, build applications which use blockchain technology to bridge internet to blockchain, to bridge anything that's legacy. When I was speaking in 94, I said, anything that's done on paper now, like if you could build an app to make it so that it's on the internet, Web 1.0, right? Like,
right.
Let's go. You're going to make a lot of money. Like that's the software that we were all building, right? So it's the same thing. You're building the bridges to that. Now, what industries are going to be that? California tokenized something like 40-something million car titles on the Avalanche blockchain, which is pretty cool. You're going to see a lot of tokenized assets being tracked. You're going to see all stock markets converted to blockchain. You're already seeing the big institutions building that, right?
Right.
All the banking, you have Ripple on the back end, you have Stellar on the front end. This is just good software, and so the functional utility is good. And then if Trump gets crazy and makes it so we don't have to pay tax on U.S.-based innovation, because the U.S., we're really terrible at manufacturing. Sure, leave like making your jackets and your toys to the Chinese. That's fine, but America, we're known for innovation. We create cool new technologies. Right? We're like the forefront of that. And the Temus are going to come out and things like that. But we create the OG
right?
That everything's built around. And we're really good at that, right?
Yeah.
And everyone tries to replicate and all that. And Chinese don't represent licensing well and all that. But it's never really, it's like if they're going to try to copy Tesla or Amazon or Facebook. They may have their own version, but the first and the strongest, that's
Right.
America.
Right.
Yeah.
I love that. So this is a question that I get asked all the time. So I'm going to ask you what you think. So most of the people that have been kind of staying away from crypto just because of the stories or whatever, I now get asked all the time, teach me how to get involved in this. And I always start with, should you get involved in this, right? If you were just talking to a group of people and they're new to crypto, what are some of the guide rails or guardrails that you would give them as get into this if? Does that make sense? In other words, talking to normal people, they don't know anything about crypto, how would you advise them to get involved?
I'd say, there's centralized and decentralized exchanges. We have hard wallets. Centralized is probably the easiest way for most people. If you're just like totally ignorant to crypto and you just want to buy Bitcoin, you could go to your brokerage and just buy an ETF like BlackRock's, the IBIT thing or whatever, or Fidelity. That's the easiest way. They even have Ethereum. Cool, right?
Yep.
They make a little bit of money for doing nothing except for custodying your crypto, but cool, at least you got some. That's probably easy. Step 2, you want to be still beginner, but be a little degen. Coinbase, go there, set that up. Make sure you're not using text message 2FA, use the Google Authenticator.
Mm-hmm.
And then don't back that up to the cloud, physically back it up. That's probably for the second level. And then you'll get deeper into it, and then you can get into hard wallets, all kinds of like DeFi projects and DeFi exchanges and all that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about what you're doing in your business. We know you have the computer business, but what other businesses are you getting involved in that are integrating Web3 and blockchain?
Well, the big one is our hedge fund. We have the Ugly Unicorn, uglyunicorn.com, our crypto fund. We started almost 3 years ago. We've done very well. We're full actually right now, so we're launching Fund 2. That's mainly managing accredited and qualified purchaser money, family office money, because a lot of family office want exposure to this, and wealthy people want exposure to that on a large scale without having to think about it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a lot of people do that with their stock portfolios and real estate portfolios. That's pretty normal for funds to manage, hedge funds. So that's the main way we're engaging there. As far as hardware goes with blockchain and AI, in fact, I just posted on my Instagram this morning. We're building like these server arrays for NASA and also for AI and scientific analysis and things like that. So the hardware is getting involved. We primarily focus on hardware, but we're getting involved with a lot of the studios that are engaging blockchain and AI and those kind of things. So every company is investing. Every major company now has to be investing something in AI.
Yeah, I went to the first time ever in my career, which is really weird. I went to the Open Compute Conference in California last year. You been to that one? Oh, it's crazy, man.
Crazy.
Like, I didn't even know that world exists, but it's basically all the hyperscalers come to one place, right? Everybody from Google to, small data centers that are getting into hyperscaling. Mm-hmm. But and that's one of the areas where we're focused with our blockchain is decentralizing hardware and cloud services. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to go into this sort of rapid fire.
Let's go.
Okay. I'm just going to say a word, and you're going to tell me what you think the future of that is.
No, okay.
This will be fun.
Okay.
Ethereum.
Great software, many sub-platforms built underneath it. I don't think the president would be buying hundreds of millions of dollars worth if he wasn't going to try to goose it.
XRP.
Ripple. Since we've been buying Ripple for like 6-7 years, something crazy. Ripple, as soon as all the SEC stuff completely, Gary's out. So
yeah, thank God.
And you guys really likes it and stuff like that. So and Ripple is U.S. based, so it could be proposed to be tax free and maybe make it through that. I think it has a compelling future.
NFTs.
NFTs, I still have one of my apes or whatnot. I'm up actually, I think, a couple grand on it.
Nice.
But I bought it early. But NFTs are probably incorporated in a different way for proof of ownership and things like that. But you might see resurgence if this altcoin market goes and people will start grasping at those NFTs again. But again, short term.
Yeah. The initial NFT thing was kind of dumb.
That's pretty funky.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we saw it with that. We've seen it with like Pokemon cards and all kinds of weird collectibles.
That goes back hundreds of years, that whole concept. We just digitized it.
You never know, huh?
Right.
So.
Well, listen, this has been really fun.
Oh, yeah.
And actually, I've been a big fan for quite some time. I was an ad guy for almost 15 years. My early career, I was in the ad business.
Oh, yes.
And you're just an ad genius.
No, we try.
So,
find people's pains and help them.
That's right. Well, I appreciate you joining me today.
Thanks, man.
We'll make sure you get a copy of this, and we're going to get it out on Play TV probably in the next couple of days, and
sweet,
get you all kinds of stuff.
Yeah. Hey, if people want to find me, I know you got different platforms. We have LinkedIn and all that, but I hate that. I try to hub everybody through Instagram. Dan's Millionaire Code. Make sure it's blue check, and I won't ask you ever to send me crypto on Instagram or send you weird links to that. I just give a forewarning, because if you're into crypto, you're probably going to have hundreds of fake U's floating around.
I get it every day. Every day.
Yeah. So don't send crypto to random people.
Right. All right. Well, thank you very much again.
Appreciate it.
You're awesome.
Thanks.
This episode was sponsored in part by the Optio community. Learn more about the Optio blockchain by visiting optio.community.